वेलकम बैक। बजट और फाइनेंस के बारे में अब आप काफी कुछ समझ गए होंगे। आपको कंस्ट्रक्शन शुरू करने से पहले एक और काम करना है। कुछ बेसिक नियम कायदे पता होने चाहिए। इससे आपको कंस्ट्रक्शन में काफी मदद मिलेगी।
We have 28 states and 8 union territories. 28 states will have their own land laws, their own zoning laws. The 8 union territories, though, will come necessarily under the central government schemes, but they will also have their own municipal corporations. It becomes complex. Now, what happens is, when you go independently to a bank, they would ask you for a certain set of documents, and you would ordinarily just give it to them. What we would do if we are servicing a client is we first understand these documents. We see what are the data that you're sharing. We may even advise you that, in this financial year, do not plan to buy. Let's improve your financial health a little bit, and then commit to a situation like this where you want to go and approach a bank or an NBFC to raise a loan. Let's imagine a scenario. There are two people, separate entities, but essentially individuals. Individual A, individual B. Let's call them person A, person B. Now, person A walks into the bank very casually and says, Mr. Banker, I have 10% of the amount which is available to me in my savings account. Could you please give me a loan for the balance 90%? And the property costs this much amount of rupees. The banks would have a SOP ready saying that there will be a general checklist saying that, okay, I need your income tax proof, I need your bank account statements, I need your employment records, pay slips, how much time have you been in the industry, and so on and so forth. They would run the due diligence in the background, and based on your property which you have identified, the risks involved and all of that, they would simply have a internal report which is never shared. Now let's talk about person B. Now person B has a lawyer, takes the lawyer, goes and meets the banker. Now the conversation changes. Instead of you asking the bank for just money, you are now asking for a very specific product of the bank. You want to buy a house which is a built-up property on a plot of land. Now you would go for a home loan, very similar to say a flat or an apartment as well, because it is structured, it is already been built. You would want to get a home loan. Things change when you're trying to acquire only a plot of land which is not built up. Ordinarily, banks will not give you a home loan on that particular plot of land. You will possibly apply for a plot loan, which is very different to a home loan because the interest rates are higher. There are certain different terms and conditions attached to that loan. For example, a home loan can go from 20 years to 30 years on a interest rate which may vary, and right now it's quite favorable in fact in the market to actually have a home loan. However, a plot loan on the other hand would be slightly expensive because there will be certain more risks involved to it.
तैयारी जितनी अच्छी हो, परीक्षा उतनी आसान लगती है। इसीलिए हमारी सलाह है कि एक्शन मोड में जाने से पहले चेकलिस्ट आपके पास होनी चाहिए, ताकि आप कुछ भूले नहीं और आपका हर कदम आपके सपनों के घर की तरफ मजबूती के साथ बढ़े।
आई थिंक ये चीज आपको क्लियर होना चाहिए कि वो प्लॉट आप ले क्यों रहे हो। इज इट एन इन्वेस्टमेंट स्ट्रैटेजी और यू आर गोइंग टू मेक इट लाइक अ ड्वेलिंग यूनिट फॉर यू व्हेन यू आर टेकिंग दिस प्लॉट। एक चीज आप उसमें ध्यान रखिए कि जब भी आप ये ले रहे हैं तो इसका कितना टैक्सेशन बेनिफिट आपको मिलने वाला है, इसका आपको टैक्स गवर्नमेंट को देना पड़ेगा किसी ना किसी फॉर्म में, लाइक प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स और वहां का जो एरिया म्युनिसिपल टैक्स है, वो सब चीजें भी कैलकुलेट करिए एंड देन यू शुड बी एबल टू फिगर इट आउट द एग्जैक्ट आउटफ्लो दैट यू आर गोइंग टू मेक ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर प्लॉट व्हेन यू आर लिविंग देयर। दो चीजें हमेशा से हमने देखा है कि विल हैपन। वन, आपका टाइम और कॉस्ट ओवररन हो सकता है। आज अगर मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि आई विल कंस्ट्रक्ट अ होम इन 6 months, हमने देखा है कि 6 months में नहीं 12 महीने में कंस्ट्रक्ट होगा, तो देयर इज अ टाइम ओवररन व्हिच इज ऑलरेडी हैपेंड। देन देयर इज अ कॉस्ट ओवररन। अगर आज मैं देख रहा हूँ आज यूक्रेन का वॉर, नोबडी न्यू 1 month 1.5 month बैक देयर विल अ वॉर इन यूक्रेन वर्सेस रशिया, so your cement prices will go up, your steel prices will go up, all your iron prices are going up, import is becoming a tough this thing, so there is a cost overrun which will also happen. So जब आप ये कंस्ट्रक्शन करने जा रहे हैं तो आप ये चीजें ध्यान रखिए कि ये ओवररन आएगा। इंटरेस्ट which was like 6.5-7% even on a construction loan, today is like 7.5%. So suddenly you are seeing a 10-15% inflation which has come on only on the interest component.
You definitely would need the basic documentation. Those documents are the records of title, the record of rights, which is the revenue record. you have two levels of mutation. Let me draw it by boxes so you understand. There is a record which is called the record of rights, which is usually record of rights, which usually is a record for the government to know who is responsible to pay the revenue or the property tax against that piece of plot or that particular house. Now, you would normally have people who actually are the owners of the property, which basically will have their names figured out on these rights. The second record is called the record of title. Owner, who's the actual owner of the property. So you will have one or two names depending whether it's a sole ownership or a joint ownership. Usually these documents should correlate. It should speak to each other. If there is a building upon that plot of land, then the building plans, the sanctioned building plans, the occupancy and completion certificates, if applicable, that is to a completed building. These are the basic documentations you would need to be able to even make a decision that whether you should buy the property and then subsequently apply for a bank loan. Because the banks also would want these basic documentation.
घर बनाने की नींव से लेकर घर की हर एक ईंट तक आपका घर आपकी पहचान होता है। इस पहचान को मजबूत रखना आपके हाथों में है। आपका हर एक फैसला बेहद जरूरी है। आपको शायद जानकर हैरानी होगी कि जब अंग्रेजों ने ताजमहल देखा तो उन्होंने ईर्ष्या में आकर कोलकाता का विक्टोरिया मेमोरियल बनवाया। आज वो ईर्ष्या का प्रतीक माना जाता है। इस दिलचस्प जानकारी के साथ हम आपसे आज विदा लेते हैं, अगली बार मिलने के वादे के साथ, क्योंकि अगले शो में बात होगी नींव यानी फाउंडेशन की।